Tarusha, it's simple. Don't complicate it, really. Yeah.
Okay, I will do. So, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Decoded. I'm so excited for you guys to meet Tarusha. She is just a new friend I've had, and she's just awesome, wicked success. And I'm so excited for you guys to learn more about her, and I get to share her story as well. So, Tarusha, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Thank you so much for calling me, Alex. I'm really looking forward to the next half an hour.
Yeah, I'm so excited as well. So, just to start out with, I'd love to just hear your story, your background of like where you came from, and then what path or what experiences you had that led you to be the person you are today.
Okay, that's quite a story. So, I've been I've been a tech entrepreneur for nearly a decade now. The strange thing is that I did not really come from a tech background. So, I came from a background in humanities, and in the subcontinent, I'm from India. So, humanities, people tend to look down on the arts basically, and they tend to think that science is better. And I think. I chose humanities not just because I think arts are very important because they kind of give you a new way to think. They teach people how to think. The study in humanities and all of those several different subjects as compared to science, because science is basically facts, right? And it's I think that it somehow is not able to give you a perspective as much as humanities does. I'm not here to bash science. I think I'm all for STEM and women in STEM, but that is the kind of background that I've had, that I was really criticized for not taking up science at my +2 level. So that is the kind of background that I've had. It was a background in humanities, and then I kind of ended up co-founding 3 tech ventures, and that story is a little funny, because people tend to think that if you're coming from a certain background with certain subjects, then perhaps a certain field is not for you. So I start my story usually with this particular little snippet that you can come from any background, any subject, and yet make a career in a completely different path, and choose that path and make it your own. So now 10 years down the line, I am a self-taught techie. I code, I design, and all of that. And obviously, my first venture was actually very deep tech. It was a hardware venture. It was a data center. So we bootstrapped a data center. We being me and my co-founder Mohit, we've known each other since we were in school, and so we started with a data center venture, and post that we moved to blockchain. So I was one of the co-founders of one of the first Ethereum exchanges of India, and post the particular exchange, because the government here kind of passed some laws that revoked the banking access for crypto companies. So we had to basically pivot, and we pivoted to a fintech platform which is on blockchain. So now I'm currently working on Oro Pocket, which is 100% asset-backed banking on blockchain. What that essentially means is, in one line, that we empower users to invest in fractional assets, basically assets that might have been out of their reach before, by fractionalizing them, by making sure you can make a very small amount of investment. And thereafter, you can also use those assets as real money, because we issue you like a card. So you can actually make transactions with those assets, thereby beating inflation. So that is what I do. And I'm happy to answer more questions regarding this.
Yeah, of course, that's a great story. Just seeing how you have been in this industry for 10 more, like you said, a decade, and that's really amazing. You've had that commitment to this type of industry, the tech, and then having that love for art instead of going with what usually people would want you to do, is like STEM and that the sciences. So how are you able to kind of go through and have the motivation to continue with the different like with the stereotypes and with people who just didn't believe in you and what you wanted to do?
It has been hard. So I think as I think women everywhere tend to fight a lot of stereotypes, and women everywhere, they are like really underrepresented, especially as entrepreneurs, especially in STEM, or be it anywhere. I think women have this problem of being underrepresented everywhere, and things and the problems of the world cannot be solved by just half the population of the world. I truly believe that, and I think that as I started off, I think I was fighting in the beginning when I chose my subjects, and it went against my parents' wishes, that they wanted me to get into STEM, and I was, even though I was scoring well there, my interest, kind of was more towards humanities, and that's what I chose. So then at that point, I had to go against my parents' wishes. But, they came around when they saw how much I enjoyed, my subjects. And then later, as like, a tech founder, people tend to, first, I think that is for women everywhere, especially in deep tech. If you're an entrepreneur in deep tech, people tend to not take you that seriously. They're always waiting for somebody to, really kind of confirm what you're saying is true. I don't know, perhaps it's just the sexism that is there prevalent here in, India. But, I've seen this in the Valley as well. I've talked to people from different countries and women entrepreneurs from all over the world, and they kind of feel the same thing, that women in deep tech, it's a very, very small number, and usually it's like a sausage fest whenever you go to any of these events, and women feel very underrepresented. So what you need to do to break stereotypes, I would say, is just sort of have that confidence in you, that what you are trying to do or what you are working on truly matters. That kind of confidence would really propel you, that belief. And obviously having a support system does help. So, as I said, my family did come around, and, they realized that, okay, she is capable perhaps of making her own choices and standing by them and making it work. And then, when I right out of school, I kind of, we started our first company. And that was again, going, not really following the usual path. I was doing I was working on my degree, and I was also working on my master's. And I think that is just one way that you can actually instill the same confidence in others, to have faith in you regarding your choices. I think that is the one way that you can really break stereotypes. And honestly, I think that, for women everywhere, we are already, there are too many expectations of, and there are so many societal and cultural notions that, women are expected to behave a certain way or do certain things. I think, it's all, like, for the lack of a better word, it's all BS. I think, you should do what you think is right, and all of these gender related notions, I think they don't really work in this day and age. Like, you can choose to, go forward with the path that you feel very confident with.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And being a woman, I understand that there's just so many different stereotypes, and around the world, it's more prevalent there. And they still have the ideas that women are supposed to stay home, have children, do those things, and then men only are supposed to go to work and pursue that career. So it's I love how we're kind of transitioning more into that and giving women more opportunities, but there's still that the gap, the difference between that, either if it's sexism or just inequality in general. I think that's something that we could still improve on and continue with that. And I love your passion with it as well. You really talk about how you see that the way we can get out of this is just going against the grain and having that confidence to continue doing what we want to do, even if people don't believe in us or support us in that way. So I think that's really awesome. You really talked about that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you need to sort of just have the confidence to pursue what you want, and let other people come around. You don't have to conform to their notions and ideas. It's your life. Do what you think is right. At least that way, that is the short way, I think, of not really living with regrets, because you did your best. You did what you wanted to do. So you kind of just have to make peace with yourself, and not with I don't know, your peer group, or kins, or your parents, or anybody else. So I think that is just be true to your path. Just be true to what you think you need to pursue.
Yes, exactly. That's an amazing way to put it. So you really talk about confidence and how you just really focus on that to continue what you're doing. Is that something, a trait that you had when you were younger, or is that something you really had to develop as you continued on your entrepreneurship path?
I actually, now that you've asked me that, I have to think about it. I don't think I was very confident when I was, in school. I think I had a lot of traumatic experience also that I would not get into, but that kind of also really, really, and I had body image issues because I'm like really thin and I was really tall. So I had all kinds of body image issues and, really some traumatic issues as well. So I was not really very confident. But then, as I slowly realized that, nobody else is going to love me as much as I can love myself, right? That is something. And if I want other people to sort of, if I'm going to just wait for validation to come, it's never going to come, because there'll always be people who will be unhappy with what you're choosing. But ultimately, as I said, I realized very early on that I am happier if, even if I make a wrong choice, but if it is my choice, I'm better off for it, like for making that particular choice. If something is imposed on me and then it doesn't work out well, because obviously it won't work out well because I'm miserable if something is being imposed on me, then things tend to fall apart and it's difficult to live with it. So I realized very early on that you need to sort of really like value yourself and cherish yourself. And this is after I had come off, sort of as I said, there was a lot of trauma, there were body image issues, I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues as well in school. And I think I was really low on self-confidence then, but I think by and by I realized that when as I said, when this particular, that there have been several incidences when I was young, and I was just about to sort of finish off school, and post that, perhaps 2 3 years after that, a lot of things were imposed on me by my family or my friends. And they were and I sort of readily agreed, like after obviously some protest, but then that kind of helplessness took over, and I realized that okay, maybe I can't do anything about it. And I was wrong. Maybe I could have put up a better fight, but then I was not mentally in a place to do that. But as those particular choices kind of unraveled, and I realized that it's so much more miserable to live with bad choices when you haven't really made them. So that kind of really made me realize that the choices that I made me have faith in those choices, made me realize that I can choose what I want to do without looking for validation from outside. Because you need to understand, you need to actually understand your own value yourself before you start looking for somebody else to validate it. I don't believe that you should look for validation anywhere. As long as you are happy with the kind of person you are and you are striving to be better, I think then you're on the right path, and you can go and do amazing things with your life that you wish to do.
That's amazing. I loved all of that where you talked about just you can fail, you can have the mistakes, but as long as they're yours, you can just continue with it and have that validation and self confidence to continue. So I think that's really important. And so many women need to know that you're not alone. You like all women, even myself, I had insecurities and I still have a ton right now, and like the mental instabilities, that kind of thing. And you know, all women go through it just because of society, the norms that they put on us, that they think that we have to be perfect or fit a certain image. And it's so important for all women, and everyone needs to hear that they have value. They have something that they should put out into the world that will create difference, even if it's just
Absolutely.
one person. Yeah, so that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody has something that they can, you don't have to change the world, right? Like that is something that, because everybody is on this productivity train. Everybody seems to think that they need to read, I don't know, 20,000 books and do so many courses. You just need to stay true to your own path. You don't have to, you know, as I said, change the world entirely. You are changing the way just by being the best version of yourself, and just by putting out what you can. You can be changing the world one step at a time by just being kind to this, stranger that you meet, randomly, or just, calling an old friend and checking in with them, or just going after your dream, or writing that book, taking that course. Do what you want to do, but you are changing the world by just being there. And that is something that people really need to sort of assimilate and accept, that it's don't look for outside validation, because it's never going to come. There's 7 billion people on this planet. You cannot possibly be liked by everybody. That's not going to happen. Might as well just like sort of nurture the relationship that you do have with yourself, because once you fix that, then good things will automatically happen, because you'll have so much more clarity, and you will know what you want to accept in a relationship and what you don't want to accept in a relationship, and you would not take any rubbish from anybody, and you'll be able to, as I said, live a life where you are truly content, that you are doing what you can do. Because that I think that particular that feeling of being content or satisfied, it's very hard to come by. And what we usually do is, we, as I said, and I keep saying this a lot, that, and especially women, I think we look for a lot of external validation. And that I think it's not just for women, but because I talk about I talk as a woman, and I talk about this a lot, and I see that there is a lot of difference in the females that I come across. I talk, I say especially women, I think. So, we cannot keep looking for validation from outside, as though, if we are um, happy, or if we are able to accept the person that we are. And not everybody is the same, so that is something. And not everybody's definition of happiness, being content, ambition is the same. So we need to sort of be really self-aware and understand what is it that we really truly want, and understand how to think in a manner that we are able to sort of figure out what are our own thoughts, and what are the kind of notions and conditioning that has happened to us over the years. So that is, it's very important. Obviously, I'm not perfect, and then it might sound across like I have this sorted, but I have so many bad days, and there are ups and downs. But this is something that I can also live with. That perhaps just try to rationalize, what is it that I want, what is it that is my conditioning that is telling me. And perhaps work on yourself, work on your what triggers you, what works for you, and what exactly is your ideal life, and go after it very unapologetically. Just do not try to conform to certain the roles, or the kind of mold that people want you to fit in. And it's these all these things sound really corny, but you don't have to follow them and imbibe them on day one. Just start small, and just perhaps take out a little time for yourself in a day, where you can just reflect and figure out what is it that you truly want. Because unless you know that, you will always be looking in the wrong places for happiness, or for contentment, or for just in general. I don't understand why people are in such a hurry. Like, I read this particular quote somewhere. It said that what's the big hurry in life, because ultimately everybody knows where they're going, right? Like, death is inevitable, it's gonna happen. But where just live your life. And by living your life, I mean that, okay, don't stop looking for external validation. Just be content with what you're doing, follow your dreams.
Wow, that's amazing that you. That was great. I loved all that. You talked about just the ups and downs, and then you said like focus on the self development and value worth. All of that stuff is really great, really awesome. I kind of wanted to just uh, dive in a little bit deeper to when you talked about just focusing on self development and growth, and really reflecting on what you truly want. Those kinds of things. What what tools or resources that you used to really focus on your internal growth and finding that not necessarily like full internal peace, but just contentment with yourself and what you're doing.
Okay, so I think this is going to sound like a really preachy interview, Alex. I think I don't know how your listeners going to react to this, because I'm going on and on about all of this, and I sound like one of those self-development junkies, perhaps. But this is just something I feel really passionate about. I think that women should really own up to their power. So I can talk all day about it. I think you'll have to do a fair amount of editing. But now, coming to your question, regarding self-development, I think my number one tool would be, it's not really a tool, it's just that I have been, I've been kind of a nerd since I was really small. Like, since the age of 3, I've been reading, I'm a very voracious reader. So I only wanted books for my birthday. So I just read a lot. And, and I'm not just talking about nonfiction, because for a greater part of my life, I was just reading fiction. But I realized that these books have really molded the way I think, and the way I kind of want to live my life. And obviously, you are ultimately sum of what you read and the kind of content you consume and the music you listen to and all of that. Again, it sounds very corny, but it's really, really true. As I'm going forward in life, I'm going to be 30 nearly soon, as I, and I started this particular entrepreneurial journey, as I said, nearly, I think it's been more than 10 years now. I think because I was 18, by the time I got out of school. And I think, yeah, the company I founded it was when I was 19. So now, yeah, it is 10 years, but it's going to be soon 11 years. And yeah, so it's important to sort of keep reading and keep striving and learning more. So I have always been, because this is again going back to the humanities story, because I came from a background in humanities and I was actually co-founding a tech company, and I wanted to be very sure of what I was doing. So I made sure that I actually learned and upgraded my skills accordingly. And even with tech, the one thing that is important is that there's so much happening in technology. I'm in the blockchain space, which is a very it's a technology in its infancy right now, and every day something new is happening. So you have to keep upgrading your skills, you have to keep reading, you have to keep learning, you can't be closed off to new learnings or new experiences. I think that is like my number one tool. And sort of just talking about contentment and peace, I think I realized, again, very go-to corny stuff, but, I do a lot of yoga, I meditate, and it kind of has centered me a lot. I understand, like, there was a huge, phase, and it was like probably half of my this 1 decade journey. I was frantic, and I had such harried energy, and I used to be all over the place, trying to do everything on my own. And as an entrepreneur, when you're broke, right, and you have a company and people to pay, it's all kinds of struggle. But with that kind of weird state of mind, you can't really accomplish much, and there is you burn out faster. So I realized, like, 5 years down, that I was just so tired of constantly being so harried and constantly running from one post to the other. But that is when I realized that I need to go back to yoga. I need to go back to my meditation practice and center myself. And also, then that is when I started realizing that I have to enjoy the process, I have to enjoy the journey. It sounds really, like easy. It's easier said than done, obviously. And that is the truth. It's easy, it's easier to say this, that okay, yeah, you need to sort of center yourself and you need to enjoy the journey, because it'll be over before you know it. I can't believe that I've been doing this for 10 years, and 10 now, going on 11 years. But it's been quite a journey, and this journey has just taught me, like, one thing, that it's the journey that matters. There are, I used to think, when I was in school, that it'll be such a big deal when I start my own company. And then I went to start one company and another company. I started one venture, then another venture, and the third venture, and multiple failed ventures in the middle as well. But those big moments in your life, they will come and go. They are always much bigger in your head than they are actually when they happen, because we are all so in a hurry. We are always striving for the next big goal, and that is just human nature, and that's good. It's good to be good to have that next big goal. And I am, right now, perhaps I'm sounding very collected, but usually I'm also like just striving for the next big goal after one another. It's like a checklist. But don't forget to again, to be very corny, to not smell the roses on the way. Just enjoy the journey, because it'll be over before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. You said so much great things right there. You just, and I appreciate your passion, even though people would say those things are corny, but they're there for a reason. And a lot of people do them because they work. So it makes sense. And the podcast is not just about, showing the truth behind the journey of an entrepreneur, but to show their passion for what they do and to really just emanate what values that they have and just why they're doing what they're doing. So I loved you just talk about all of that. And yeah, it was really amazing. So final question, I
Thank you.
just wanted to, yeah, it was really amazing actually. You said a lot of things and really great things, but if there was anything else you would say to an entrepreneur, either male or female, or specifically to someone who just wants to start something from your experiences, what would you say to them? What advice would you give for those people who want to start something?
Just start. Like, we wait for things to become perfect before we launch them, and that is something that a lot of young entrepreneurs seem to struggle with. That they want to perfect their idea before they sort of launch it. I would say, just send out the imperfect version, just launch it, just ship it, and see where it goes. Because people are not really watching you. You seem to think that everybody's eyes are on you, and what is the worst that will happen? That it'll not work, right? But at least you try it. And if you're not even trying, you're failing by default. Failing is not a problem. It's you fail and you get up and you try again. And as someone said, that you don't really fail, you just learn the way that perhaps it doesn't work, and then you go ahead and try the next plan. So if anybody is starting up, as I said, just launch already. Do not have self-doubt. Have the confidence. Obviously, you can take um, help from experts if you want, but don't like sit on it for way too long. Then second would be, take help from experts. Take help from people. Ask for help. There's nothing, absolutely nothing shameful about asking for help. I think this is something that everybody needs to know. In any space, in any sector, in any way, regarding anything, if there are people who know better, just take their help. Like, you will just be saving time, and time is your biggest resource. Always keep that in mind. People think they trade money for time, and I think that is such a problem, because time is your greatest resource at hand. And just learn from other people's mistake. Create a support system around you that you can lean on, because that would be important as an entrepreneur, or just in life in general. I think you should have a few people that you can lean on. And these people do not necessarily have to be your family members or your immediate friends from your college or school or workplace. The internet has a way of making the word really shrink. So you can have like a pen pal, but somebody that you feel really comfortable talking to, and you can lean, you can share your wins and your losses with them. That is, I think, very important. If you're starting up, if you do not have a co-founder, if you're a solo founder, then this is even more important, because there are a lot of challenges. If you have a co-founder, then have a co-founder that you can really um, talk to, and you can pick their brains with. You can really ideate and brainstorm, and and to be able to do those things without the bottom line, that is your relationship with them, getting hampered. So ask for help, have a support system, and just launch already. Do not have that many, that do not be diffident about it. Be confident, and I'm sure that because you've thought of something and you've worked on it, there is no reason why it wouldn't work. And if it doesn't work, then, as I said, just go to plan B. Just get up and take your time, recoup, but then just go up to the next plan. Now that that is one way that doesn't work. Perhaps the second way and second iteration will work. So just iterate, iterate, iterate.
Yeah, that was a great way to end. I love a couple of things there that I really loved when you said failure is you fail by default if you don't try. And I think that's really powerful, just because I don't think people realize that's what's actually happening. Because you go through your life and you don't start something, you regret it, and then you feel like a failure in general. And like you said, you fail by default. So I think that was a really great way to put it. And then just create a support system, no matter who it is, just someone you can trust and help you build through that. Because entrepreneurship, the whole journey can be really, really lonely. So if you just have at least one person that you can share your ideas, your bad days, good days, whatever that may be, it's really helpful for the whole journey in general. So, Tarusha, thank you so much for coming today. I think so much value was brought to this episode, and I learned so much from you, and I really know that there's so many other people out there who will also get your advice and guidance, and maybe they'll just go out and start something. This is the episode that they're just gonna be like, what, I'm gonna do it. So if so, then that's absolutely amazing. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming on today. Anyone wants to, anyone listening to this wants to get in touch with T, then all of her links, her information is down below in the description. And I just have a few announcements real quick. I'm redoing my face mask website, and I will be doing a campaign with a new company called Watzel. We're both local here in Utah, but we're coming together, and we're showing our strengths and just really helping the community with just trying to give out some really awesome high high quality personalized face masks. So I'm so excited to do that campaign with him. And then I'm just excited for I'm starting a new company with web design. So I'm really excited about that. You guys can hear that in coming episodes, but that's just a little announcement here. But thanks again, T. I'm so glad I got to share your story, and thank you for your time.
I'm really, really grateful that you called me. I'm very honored, and if I could have just helped one person, my day is made. And congratulations on all of these new developments on your professional front. More power to you, girl.
Yes, thank you so much. So thank you all for tuning in.